Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Friday the 28th of July comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar again, and we've had a little bit of a resurgence yesterday, but just falling off again, so it's not holding on to any gains really. So still bearish short and medium term, and that long-term picture changing quite significantly. If we look at the euro, we see the euro is actually rising and looking stronger again. So we're still above the cloud on all three time frames. So euro strength basically. Japanese yen, the dollar has been weakening here as well. So it's all about dollar weakness at the moment. Looking at sterling, again that dollar weakness filtering through to a stronger sterling rate. So we are just now sitting quite consistently above that 130 level. Although we are weaker against the euro, and we are still seeing pressure on sterling hitting this 110 level again. Looking at Swiss franc, sterling is strong, and against the Australian dollar, sterling has actually just improved a little bit over the last day or two. But the Aussie dollar is still looking pretty good long and medium term against sterling. Looking at the S&P 500 index, it was down very slightly last night. Most of the action was in Nasdaq. Nasdaq falling quite sharply there for an hour or two in the market yesterday. So that's quite key. And looking at the Dow, Dow is actually holding up its strength. So the large cap's doing very well, and the Russell 2000 down nearly 2/3%. So quite a sharp sell-off there, although we're still bullish on all three fronts. Looking at the S&P future, it's down 0.25% at the morning, suggesting a lower opening, and the Nasdaq down 1%, so nearly 1%. So that's suggesting a stronger opening down on the Nasdaq. So we are just going to see sell-off at the end of the week. A lot of uncertainty really in the market. FTSE 100 is down this morning, down 0.6%. And into bearish territory on the cloud, and the FTSE 250 down nearly 1%. So those mid caps just falling away. Although we are still bullish, we are just seeing a sharp sell-off in the short term. The DAX looking bearish, making new lows. One of the worst looking major markets at the moment. So the DAX is actually looking pretty bearish, medium and short term, with further downside of about 1.5% and 6% in the medium term. Looking at Nikkei, we see that's also looking bearish on that stronger yen, and Hang Seng has had a sell-off as well. Shanghai up very, very slightly, and the Indian market a bit of a sell-off there, about 0.5% down, but still bullish on all three time frames. The Aussie market also just looking pretty bearish. A lot of volatility there in the market on that strong Australian dollar recently, but it is bearish medium term. Brent crude is up 1/3%, so we're bullish above the cloud, just testing support here, resistance here on the medium-term chart on the cloud. And on the WTI chart, we're actually down slightly, so just slightly different moves there, but still much the same picture, of course. US nat gas just trying to get back above this $3 level and turning a little bit more bullish on the short term. And copper, which had a stellar run, has just stopped and paused for breath at the moment, but a really big breakout there for copper. Looking at the gold chart, we see gold is still bullish above the cloud short term. This short term target of 3% upside sitting there, and silver also still just holding its bullishness as well. US Treasury yields just above the 2.3% and looking bullish short term, but the medium term chart still has a little bit more work to do. Apple sold off nearly 2%. We saw tech really sell off yesterday. Google off 1.5% and now bearish below the cloud. Amazon also just having a sell-off but maintaining its bullish position. Facebook was up 6% on the results the night before at one point yesterday, but actually just fell away, but is still looking very bullish as a chart. Lots of upside targets here. So just more affected by the market yesterday, and Microsoft down 1%. A lot of Nasdaq shares were off quite a few percent yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see whether we recover for the end of the week. The Nasdaq E-mini suggests we're going to see a fall away at the opening, so end of the week, tech just looking a bit weaker than it was. That's it for today. Have a great weekend. Until Monday, happy charting. See you then.